Structure lesson. Instructions. Watch the video lesson to understand how this grammar structure works and how you can use it to communicate more efficiently. Here we are again in our next section of this great unit, which is your structure lesson. In the last unit, we studied the present perfect tense to discover how it works. Now, in the modules for this unit, we will be looking at another important tense called the past perfect tense. So in today's lesson, you're just going to get an overview of what the past perfect is and how it is structured. So let's get started. You remember how in the present perfect the structure was subject plus the auxiliary verb to have in the present tense plus the main verb in past participle. Well, here in the past perfect, the structure changes slightly. Subject plus the auxiliary verb to have in the past tense plus the main verb in the past participle. You see, if you understand what we saw last unit, this unit will be really easy. The only thing that changes here is the verb to have. So stick with me and we will glide right through this. Let's look at a few examples of how this works so you can understand it better. I, subject, plus had, auxiliary verb past tense, plus seen, past participle. So now let's look at a full sentence using what we just saw. I had seen him that night before he passed away. To conjugate the auxiliary verb to have in the past perfect tense is much easier than the present perfect. Take a look at this. First person singular, had. Second person singular, had. Third person singular, had. First person plural, had. Second person plural, had. Third person plural, had. Notice that in all instances, we never change the auxiliary verb. It doesn't matter what point of view we use. It is always had. Even if you use I, you, he, she, it, we, or they. Once again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the last unit, the past participle always ends with ed when you use a regular verb, just like in the past tense. However, the past participle of the irregular verbs do change. So you will have to pay attention to the way they are formed so you can use them correctly in the past perfect tense. Here are a few example sentences for you, comparing the use of regular and irregular verbs for you to get the hang of what we are talking about. He had stopped, regular verb, before me. She had finished, regular verb, her work. They had already walked, regular verb, to the store. We had not left, irregular verb, yet. They weren't hungry because they had just eaten, irregular verb. I wondered if I had been, irregular verb, there before. Don't get overwhelmed here with how all this works. Just relax and observe how this structure is used in the story. In the next lesson, I will explain in more detail how the past perfect tense works exactly. Just realize that right now, I just want you to get an idea of what the past perfect is. By the end of the unit, you will have understood it much better, and will even pick it up when you hear it used in English. The main thing to understand here is that the past perfect is best used for relating two events which happened in the past, and allow you to understand which event took place first. That is the main reason we use this structure. This will help you learn to tell stories in the right order and not leave people in the dark as to when things happen. So having said all that, I will let you move on to your next lesson. Have a great day.